What's happening, racing fans? Welcome back to the channel, brought to you in association with betting.co.uk. I'm your host Ginger Joe and I'm back. Finally, we've got the 2023 Cheltenham Festival ready to go and get underway. All the talk's now done. The Ante Post selections are now locked in. It's just time to give you my final day one selections. Just a few things to mention though. A massive thank you to everybody that's tuned into my channel throughout the season, and in particular to those that have subscribed. It doesn't go unnoticed. I really do appreciate that, and I'm hoping that I'll be seeing a lot of you at the track next week as well. A few other things though. I do have a free horse racing group chat which you're welcome to join. I give away free bets every single weekend. Racehorse shares, we've got a tipping league, stable tours, gallop footage, and I've even got a golf betting section there now. And this weekend I managed to land the 373 to 1 double across the two events. So don't forget to subscribe, come over and join the group chat because we do have a really good crack in there all year round. Also provided by Betfred, exclusively to the Ginger Joe Racing Show. I've got a bet £10, get a £40 of free bet offer for you using the link in the description below. And of course, do gamble responsibly. And I can't wait to see you all next week. Do come and say hello. I really like to talk about racing to absolutely everybody. Come over and give me a nap. Give me a next best. And we can obviously have a nice drink and a good time as well. So, I'm going to go straight on to the day one selections. Starting off in the Supreme. And this is really a horse I've been flying the flag for since August. I've really put my neck on the line. I'm pretty gung-ho at a big price as well, and I'm not going to go against him now. That's Marine Nationale, currently drifting out to 9-2, and just let him drift, let him keep going. All of the Willie Mullins fans are getting tucked into Facile Vega, and as soon as he ran a bad race, they all got tucked into Ilite Tomps, but they're just trying to find and pick holes in Marine Nationale's form, but to me, he's been absolutely superb. That Royal Bond form was brilliant. Twice he jumped into the back of the two horses. He got shuffled back for a third time, managed to sit back on the bridle, and even though he bunny hopped the last, he still managed to find that snappy, quick turn of foot. There's not a chance you'd have found Facile Vega or Relate Tomp, or in fact any others in this field managed to sit back on the bridle and win in that style. Very easy to go and say he only beat Irish Point. Clearly last time out and the time before Irish Point was a very different animal that day. He was much better in the Royal Bond, and that form's stacking up really nicely. I'm not worried about the 100-day break as well. People are trying to call that a bit of a stat, but the point of the matter is that not many horses just turn up after that much of a layoff anyway, so it's a very easy stat to unbreak. I think Marine Nationale has got a massive chance tomorrow and is my nap of day one. I don't like Facile Vega. I don't like Ilite Tomp. I think Tom Morris is really good for place money, but the problem is I do think it is only place money. The soft ground's going to really suit him well. He's a very straightforward horse and a pretty decent slick jumper as well. He's not going to do too much wrong tomorrow. So at 10-1, whilst he remains at that price, could be a little bit of a decent each way bet, particularly whilst the conditions are relatively soft as well. In the same race, though, I do think High Definition, he's a very classy animal on the flat. I'd love to see him jump nicely, and he shouldn't be too far away, providing he gets a clean run this way too. But for me, Marine Nationale takes all of the beating in the Supreme. In the Arkle, it's definitely a no-bet race for me. This is between John Bon and Al Fabiolo. Clearly two really good animals, miles better than anything else in this field, in my opinion. And I can't pick between them. One day I fancy John Bon, one day I fancy Al Fabiolo. But the matter of the fact is that John Bon is the one that outjumps Al Fabiolo. Clearly, miles better. Really, really good jumper of a fence. Yeah, Al Fabiolo is the one that's got a wicked turn of foot as well. So I think if Al Fabiolo's there with John Bon at the home turn, then Al Fabiolo wins. But if Al Fabiolo doesn't jump very well, then John Bon wins. It's simply one of those races. And I'm not going to get involved with either. But to allow myself a bet at every race at Cheltenham, I'm going to take a stab at one here. Maybe look at Hollow Games at 40-1, who shouldn't have a chance here based on form. And he also looks like he needs a much longer trip as well. Some people are even saying he needs sort of like the National Hunt Chase trip at the moment. But he's not really a 2-miler. But in a race that could potentially open up and fall apart, I'm just going to have a single stake on him just for the fun of it at 40-1. But he shouldn't have a chance. This should be between John Bon and Al Fabiolo in general. Then in the Ultima, my main selection is definitely Monbeg Genius. I've had him on the radar for a little while now. He smacked Mr. Glass over hurdles for who was trained by Paul Nicholls, quite highly regarded as well. He beat him by nearly 20 lengths that day. He then had wind surgery before going chasing. Clearly needed the first run, but has gone on very, very nicely since winning all three. Off of a mark of around 124. up to 140, and John Joe has been the defining factor in making him so efficient in his races. He's sort of sat off the pace a little bit, eased through the field, and come really good. They had the option sent into the Kim Muir, but of course John Joe Jr. wouldn't have been able to ride him that way. So the Ultima looks a perfect fit for him. And he was 14 to 1. He's into about 11 to 1 now. And he's probably going to continue to get backed because of the string of ones. But I think he's going to go there with a really, really good chance. I love John Joe Jr. to get another winner at the Cheltenham Festival. Into Overdrive, he's the one that's probably handicapped to actually go out and win this race, but he's a little bit short at 7 to 1 based on all the hustle and bustle of this race, and he's probably going to need a little bit of luck in running as well, but I may get stuck into Overdrive a little bit on the day. The Goffer as well, he is one that could potentially break our Irish hoodoo. A race for the hardy horses, and he's got a hardy jockey on board, Davy Russell. Could just potentially sneak a few places here at quite a healthy price as well. But my main selection is Monbeg Genius, currently at 12 to 1. In the Champion Hurdle, can't wait to see how this one unfolds. Constitution Hill versus State Man, and I think it's going to finish pretty much that way too, but I'm not so sure it's going to be a 10-length demolition job like most people are saying, because I think State Man's got plenty of cruising speed. This is something that I look at a lot when it comes to the slick hurdlers, and I think they're both going to jump the last hurdle together, providing there's no mishaps throughout that race. And I do think Constitution Hill is going to go on to win in the end, but I think State Man's been campaigned really, really nicely, and I don't think he's going to be too far behind Constitution Hill come the line, but I do want to see the performance that everyone wants to see, of course. In the mares, I'm definitely going to be looking at Lay and Honeysuckle, providing the money comes back in for her. I think Marie's Rock is probably the one to beat. She won this race last year. She stayed. She got buckets of stamina. And with it being really soft ground, she's going to stay up that hill, no problem at all. Connections look to potentially going down the stayers route. I think they've done the right thing in staying into the mares. And I think she's going to take all the beating. But I am also going to be backing Brandy Love, but not as a single. I am going to double her up with Gaillard de Menil in the National Hunt Chase. I'm not a massive fan of the favourite in the last, but I think if Brandy Love wins, I'd be happy to have a piece of that money going on to the favourite in the last race with another fancy that I have, which I'll get onto in a minute. But I will be laying Honeysuckle. The main selection would be Marie's Rock, and I think Brandy Love would be worth a little double with Gaillard de Menil. In the Boodles, I think Takao takes all the beating, but you get no brownie points for backing a favourite. I just think he's going to be really hard to beat off this mark. I know it doesn't look like there's too much room, but I think there's plenty of improvement on that mark, and I think he left a lot on the race track before. I think he's going to be quite tough to keep out of the first two. Similarly, I think Risk Bell will go really well as well. She's a really nice filly, was going really well at Leopardstown before falling last time out. And I think if she won that day, she'd be a little bit shorter in the market. She's very well handicapped to go well. Again, probably going to quite like the track at Cheltenham as well. And again, similar to Cow, I just see it quite hard for those two to finish anywhere outside the first two. So what I'm also going to do, I'm going to add two selections and use Takao and Risk Bell to make two tri-casts. Sir Alan and Biker finished first and second last time out. Sir Alan's a really gutsy type though. He may not have enough to win this race. I think Takao and Risk Bell have it between them, but I think Sir Alan has to go really well here. Similarly to Tarmora, is going to be left about going to his business nice and easy. He'll get a nice toe into the race, and I can't see him finishing too far back. So I think himself would be worth adding into the first two to have a look at a tri-cast. And I'll do the same with Bike, who finished second to Sir Alan last time out. Both decent animals, maybe not good enough to win the race, but I think worth a little bit of a punt for the tri-cast section as well. But Takao and Risk Bell for me in the Boodles. And then in the 530, as I said, I don't like Gaillard de Menil too much. I understand the angle with him, and I think Brandy Love is definitely worth probably an angle with a double, just to sort of boost those odds if you like to look at it that way. But similarly to a lot of punters, since Barry O'Neill has been put on top of Manila Crooner, I do really fancy him as well. Stays really nicely, needs to jump a lot better, but with Gaillard de Menil being even money, I think Manila Crooner could be a little look each way. And similarly, Chemical Energy, who has some really nice Cheltenham form when he tried 3 miles for the first time out on his penultimate start. He was a little bit lacklustre last time out, but he's probably going to come here in a much better form. And the two Gordon Elliott chances against the Willie Mullins will be the angles I'm going to take here. So there you go, there's the day one selections done and dusted out the way. If you want the full depth analysis to why I like these selections, go back and check out all of my other videos. I'll be back again tomorrow with day two selections as well. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Good luck to everyone, and I'll see you all this week. Bye for now.